Hi, and welcome to the best thing you watched this week. We got Chris from Movies and Munchies and myself, Zomben, from the Ruby Tuesday. Let's talk about the best thing we watched. We got an interesting selection because it's horror month, it's spooky month. We're going to be talking again this week about a particular film that we've watched and purposely to talk about at the end. Yes. I've also got an interesting fact about 3 seashells that I want to talk about. So Chris, remind me about that.
Okay.
And so stay tuned if you want to hear about that. If you are tuning in for the first time, you are very, very welcome. Thank you. Whether you're listening to on the podcast, I don't know what that is. On a podcast. I'm really sounding English and I resent that because I'm actually South African by birth, but I've lived in England for so long. I now speak sometimes like I drink tea like this.
In it?
How now, brown cow? Yes, exactly. At the end of the video segment, where we continue doing the audio segment, we are talking about entertainment news. And there's quite a bit that has jumped this week. It's been an interesting week of entertainment news and anything else that we kind of want to put in our exclusive podcast content. So do stay tuned. If you want to skip over to the audio bit, you can do that, or you can just listen to the audio if you don't want to see our faces. But, look at the special effects makeup where we put on for you. Why not? Serious. But as always, whenever we start these week on week, we do 2 things. In case you didn't know, the format is we do movie questions and Chris asks a wonderful question. But let's talk about who won this week.
You stumped everybody.
Nah.
That was good. And the funny thing is, I've seen all 3 of the movies, and while 2 of them really should have triggered in me. Like I kind of knew what they were, but not totally certain. The last one, I completely was by, and again with everybody else. So Nostromo was the closest with 2 out of 3 correct, and so your answers were Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, and A Clockwork Orange. So
there was someone else that I thought had answered before Nostromo that had answers. Did they not?
There was only one person got Ghostbusters,
right?
But didn't get the additional 2. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, that was you did really well at stumping us. That was a
nice. I'm excited about this week. Hopefully, I can stump you again.
Okay.
Nostromo, you didn't get it. Sorry, dude. Or do that. I don't actually know. I won't presume. Some mornings I identify as chair because that's how I feel. Stiff and almost broken. And
yes.
All right. Sweet and sour chicken ass.
Sweet and sour chicken ass? Is that what you said?
I did. Yeah. I read it strangely, so you wouldn't quite get it straight away. But there is a full line, as always. Do you know it?
Well, I don't know it, no.
Okay. I've been looking for your sweet and sour chicken ass.
Nope, that didn't help.
Nope.
I love it. I think that's a great...
All right, number 2. Turd burgers.
Oh, see, now wait a minute. That one... Shoot. Okay, give me the full quote.
What are you turd burgers talking about? What are you turd burgers talking about?
Wow. Okay. I even want to say that I just recently saw this.
You might have.
Crap.
I imagine it might be one that you enjoy watching.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. What's stump me with the third one? Come on.
Okay. Fucking Jacobs. Yeah, okay. You stop me whilst I'm walking and I'll cut your fucking Jacobs off.
Oh, now see, I'm pretty sure I know that one.
Hey, it's an amazing movie. It's been a while since I've seen it.
If it's the one I think it is, then yes. So, okay. Wow, good. Let us know in the comments. What are those? That I only feel somewhat confident about one of those. So hopefully you're much better at this than I am. But yeah, let us know in the comments. We'll give you a shout out next week. All right. May I ask a question?
You may.
Okay. So my question is rude and it's wrong. And I have to go in acknowledging, first off, that this is one movie, but we're going to say it's not one movie for the purpose of the question.
Oh.
Which is the best of the Lord of the Rings?
Oh my gosh. If you'd asked me which is the best original Star Wars films, I'd go Empire Strikes Back. Without a doubt. Yeah. It's always the second one. That's an easy one for me. Like, that's the best movie. Hands down.
Yeah.
So first of all, I should point out, I only watch the extended editions now. I don't like the original, because I've watched the original recently and saw how much they left out. It just feels wrong. It doesn't feel like the right trilogy. Like, it's not correct. So the extended editions really add. So I think you've got to come down to what bits that they added in. And if you're a geek, then you know. If you're a Tolkien geek, then you know. And I think there's stuff added in with the Ents in number 2, the Two Towers, that I really enjoy. There's a whole interaction with Saruman that I think is excellent. And there's a journey with the hobbits, with two of the hobbits and the Ents. But then there's so much stuff in Return. It's really hard, Chris. That's a really hard. There's so much stuff in Return of the King. I could say that Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, the first one, it's good and it sets everything up. But I think I would have to choose between Two Towers and Return of the King. I think I'm going to go Two Towers because, as much as I love Return of the King, I always had issues with how overpowerful the Spirit's army was at the end. It just kind of rushed in and wiped everybody out, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, we built everything up and now it's all done. Like, really? They have corporeal form and now they don't have corporeal form, and they have corporeal form when it's needed in the story. Fine. I know there's a whole history, but the books describe that much better than the film did. That's the one bit I always go back to the books for. Yeah, okay, Two Towers. So,
okay, Two Towers.
What would you decide?
I'm going Return of the King.
Yeah. I had an inkling.
Again, though, yes. I mean, that's an unfair question. It's stupid. I think I go Return of the King because of the times that it makes me cry. Like,
it does have massive emotional impact. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know there are different key points for everybody. Like, for my son, when Sam says, I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. I mean, that really hits him hard. That one, I like that, but that one doesn't hit me emotionally like it does him. Yeah. For me, it's when everybody minus Sam and Frodo are in front of the Black Gates, and Aragorn turns and he goes, for Frodo. And then starts running.
That gives me shivers just thinking about it. Yeah,
me too. Just now,
so good.
And then the final one, and it was, dang it, somebody posted just that clip on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, does this make you cry? And they just show where on the castle, where right after the wedding and the coronation of Aragorn.
I know it. I know it. Oh, I just got shivers again.
You bow to no man, and then they bow, and I mean,
it doesn't matter who it was. They all bow to the hobbits. Yeah. Yes.
Again, gives me chills, and that right there. Those are the moments that
the honoring moments. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that leads up to that, you know what I mean? It just shows you the camaraderie, the friendship, all of that. And so, but I agree with you too that the extended edition is the only way to watch. That is the only edition now, for as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, nice. Well, let us know in the comments, which would you choose? Do you watch the extended editions or the normal? Do you agree with us that it's the best trilogy of all time, or would you say there's another trilogy? And let us know why you are wrong as well in the comments about that.
Love it.
Should we get into the best thing we watched?
Let's do that. Yes. You want to go? You want me to go?
You can kick us off if you'd like.
Okay. So this is a movie. It's funny that I started out watching this movie and almost turned it off. I had it as a screener, and it's a comedy horror that's semi found footage, and
Oh,
it is.
gosh. Are we going straight into it? Okay.
Oh, straight into it, because no joke, this is the best thing I watched this week. I absolutely loved it. It's called Deadstream, and it's on Shudder. Now, here's the thing that I saw. It's at least if you use Shudder through Amazon Prime as an Amazon Prime channel, you're not going to find this. You have to subscribe to Shudder or like through AMC Plus to get this, because they have a tiered system. Like Shudder says, and even IFC Films and even AMC Plus have said, here, Amazon, you can, use us as your channel, as a platform there, but you don't get all of the content.
That's ridiculous, because you pay the same price, but you get less of the content.
Well, and that's why I canceled. We had canceled our AMC Plus through Amazon about a year ago.
So I have two Shudder subscriptions at the moment because of that.
Oh, no. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
I have canceled one, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the movie. It is this disgraced YouTube streamer. Not really. He's not really YouTube, but I mean, he's an online streamer. He does crazy crap. He had controversy around him, his comments, his behaviors, everything, just very culturally insensitive, racist, just a terrible person, or at least terrible decisions. Let's talk about it. I mean, just a terrible decision. Now, that may not be him. I mean, he may have just done these.
I love the terrible decisions in this. That makes the movie. It's so clever.
Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, and I'm talking the first part though. First,
okay,
just his terrible decisions of like choosing to be in the trunk of a car and that situation around there, something like that. So anyway, so he's making amends. He lost all his sponsors, so he's coming back. He's made amends. He's done his apologies, and so he's trying to get his sponsors back. He decides to spend a night in this haunted house and live stream it. And if he stays there, he gets money, or he doesn't. It doesn't matter.
He gets his world back. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, he can't leave. He has to investigate everything, but he's interacting with his viewers during the live stream, which you normally would. So the first 15 minutes or so are absolutely like, I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if we can continue this. That's bad. It's very cheesy. It's very cringy, and it's all on purpose. Then we go into this movie where it is cringy and it is cheesy and it is also very creepy. So I'll let you take a drink and then I'll tell me, because you also got a chance to see this.
So I watched this morning on your recommendation, because normally when you're so giddy about a film, I'm like, all right, let's see what this is about. And so my wife went downstairs to make me coffee, because she's amazing like that. And when she came up, the film had already started. So she didn't catch the beginning. So she was sucked in because she thought it was actually a live stream. And she was like, oh my gosh, this is really creepy now. How are they doing that? That's so clever. So as soon as I told her that it was a movie, she's like, oh, I'm not scared anymore. I wish I hadn't told her. But I mean, that is props to the film for someone coming in, making it think this is like a really cheesy streamer, one of those ghost hunting people that go into a haunted house. The thing that made the movie for me, and maybe because I'm not as jaded with American content as you are, I think you gear yourself towards more British stuff because you've seen so much American content, whereas I see myself more watching the American content. I think it plays a little bit something like that. So I heard this guy and I said, oh yeah, this is ticking all the correct boxes as to how I would expect it to actually go. Like this American person going into a haunted house, screaming with a high-pitched voice when they see something in the corner of their eye. But what I loved was this idea of him taking away the ability for him to escape the house, to force himself to be there. And so what he was saying was basically all these movies and TV series that you always start, I guess it's not believable because you're saying, why didn't you just get in your car and drive away? Why didn't you just run around there? So he takes all of that access away to trap himself in this house. And I thought, okay, this is great, because you really are asking for it. I mean, there's a moment, I don't think it's really a spoiler, but he takes a key and he chucks it down the grate so that he can't get out, and padlocks it. And I'm just thinking, let's get rid of the spark plugs in the car. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? And then, later on in the film, they just double down, exacerbating Ouija board, seance. They just, you just know that actually poop is going to hit the fan. And when it does, Chris, my word, it does a really good job. It's like comedy Evil Dead almost, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it like the comedy works because it's so extreme, and I think it's also a little bit because there's a little bit of a relatability to it. You know what I mean? Like some of it where he just like I looked forward to his screams where he would be like, it was so.
I wanted to see what was going to happen next, to see how he would react.
Yeah, totally. Yes. But then the visuals that they use and the imagery and the way that they would place the cameras, and I mean, just the whole setup, even if you knew something was coming, it still freaked me out. And I got that creepy, eerie feeling.
There's a mix mash of, there's some jump scares, but the jump scares offset the moments when it's not jump scare and it's so scary. So you've had a jump scare and you're like, damn you for making a jump scare. And then 5 minutes later, someone will walk across the a tall man will walk across the doorway and you're like, oh no. It's suddenly more real. And it feels real because you have that stream going as well with all the cameras and people interacting with him. And that's, we all watched live streams and commented on someone's live stream. So there has that authenticity in a fake movie, which is why I can totally see why my wife walked in and went, wow, this is really creepy. I really wish I hadn't said anything, because I was like, dang, get out of the house, man. But the practical effects, again, another layer of just spectacular. Very well done.
Right. And even when there are a couple of moments where you can tell that it is a practical effect, like it's a latex mask or something like that, I didn't care.
No,
I was so invested in the movie, right? This is one of those that is such a happy surprise that you stumble upon it, because
you were right at the beginning. I was like, this is cheese. Like, I was really surprised. I said, Chris is what? But then I got it, and I was like, oh, this is good. Yeah.
Totally, yeah, that's exactly it. That it reaches that point, and I think it does it fairly quickly. I mean, it requires a little bit of patience going in, but I think if you understand that we're just going for some kind of cheesy, campy, off-kilter humor type of thing, and then we're going to get into it, and you're going to love the character, and you're going to actually be concerned for him, despite all of the terrible decisions that he makes one after the other. Some of them on purpose, because he has his wheel of things or whatever that is that he has to spin. Just, oh, goodness. Oh, all right. Yeah.
Werewolf by Night is the one I want to talk about next.
Dude.
This was so good and so surprised. Directed by Michael Giacchino, who is a composer, and he is a fantastic composer. This is what happens when you allow a composer to take the helm and be creative. Now, I would say that 90% of this film is great because of that. 10%, there's bits of the score where you can see he's gone, I want to put it all in. Yeah, and it's loud and over the top and probably not needed. And it's only short. It's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but everything else I love. The black and white, the color that we get, the noir feeling that it has, the story that I didn't see coming. It's all about these hunters coming to claim this gem of power, and then you think it's all going to be about them hunting this werewolf, and it's not. And it's I thought it was 45 minutes, this is going to be straightforward, but then we get characters like the Jessica Jones actress who's in here, who's really great. You aren't really rooting for her until they establish a bit of background story with her. But for me, there's a guy...
Jessica Jones?
Yeah, Jessica Jones. She's from the Netflix TV series Jessica Jones.
No, that wasn't Kristen Ritter.
It wasn't that Kristen Ritter?
No,
100% thought it was Kristen Ritter.
Oh, that's funny. No, it's Jenny something. She was in. She's been in a bunch of stuff. She's in Outlander, as Sam Heughan's sister.
That's so weird. Both my wife and I both went, "Oh, that's Jessica Jones." The whole time we thought it was Jessica Jones. I still think it's Jessica Jones.
Funny. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so my apologies and thank you for calling me out on that, because I would have been all the comments like, "What are you talking about, Ruben?" Oh my gosh.
I can see she does resemble Kristen Ritter, so I can see that.
Maybe that's her nom de plume.
She plays too. She plays an
too.
Irish actress,
Yeah.
and she plays a.
All right, getting back to not Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones. She was great. I rooted for her when they gave her some backstory. I was concerned that going in, I was like, I'm not going to root for anybody here. Like, who am I rooting for? And then there's a moment where there's a scene. I was like, this is the reason why they're locked in this room. There's a scene that they make you kind of like them as characters. But then there's a character that doesn't really get any lines. I equate this to Chewbacca and Han Solo partnership. And I was just like, man, I love this. And the practical effects and the costume design, so good. Okay, I've talked enough about this. Tell me your thoughts on it.
Everything you said.
Okay.
See, I liked when the score swelled like that and it went kind of over the top because it reminded me of those old school monster films.
Yeah, no, I totally got what they were doing. It was just too loud in my ears. This is really, really loud. And remember,
Gotcha.
we were recovering from headaches last night. So.
Oh, that's true. Yes. So, very true. Yeah, it was. I mean, the tight storytelling that when you have a short time period, it forces you to be to the point.
Yeah.
But yet we got some development in this. We got enough to root for the characters. We got some emotional moments within there too, and some surprise things where I was like, oh wow, why are you doing that? Okay, that makes sense. And is that going to come into play later? And then when it does, you're like, unbaited, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Because you have a plan set up, and the violence was
so good.
It was unexpected.
I was like, this is Disney. This is awesome.
Yeah. And I wonder if they kind of got away with it or felt more comfortable with it because it's black and white.
Yeah, probably.
So you don't, so it's not as visceral maybe with blood splatter. But it was, I mean, that
was gnarly. Some gnarly kills. Yeah.
And spectacular.
And not just from the monsters, which I thought was nice.
And that was a huge surprise for me too, that it was, it made sense the instant that an action happened because of because of the whole setup, but I didn't go there first. That's not where my brain went, and it probably should have, but it didn't. And so I liked that it was just like, and adds a whole different level of complexity and danger to the story.
Yeah. I want Disney's new phase to have stuff like this and give composers or people that to be fair, they are pretty good at giving new time directors and people a chance, but I want more stuff like this. This phase has for me felt quite lackluster, and I know not everybody feels that way, but for me it's just not, it doesn't have the same bite and punch to it. Sure. But this gives me hope. Yeah, exactly. This really gives me hope, which maybe I can lead into talking about the latest She-Hulk episode. Are you caught up at all?
I'm not. I'm 2 behind, I think. 3 behind. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm sure you've seen the trailer and you knew that there was a character that was going to...
I did. Yes.
Okay, so this character now is this episode that everybody's been talking about. And again, for the most part, I think it has split audiences.
Sure.
For me, it just solidified what I thought was going to happen for me, which is my favorite character from the Netflix Marvel series, which is Daredevil. Daredevil is gritty, dark, at least in the world that they created. within the Netflix series, the 3 series, and some of the best TV I've ever seen. Still to this day, was just a real treat. Like, you feel honored, sort of thing, to have watched. There's some TV that you'll go back to, like the OA. Just fantastic storytelling, amazing.
Yes,
it's on that sort of level and par for me. So I was worried with how they were going to handle this, and they have done what I thought they were going to do, unfortunately, and that is make him a comedy bit. And so the fighting in this was good. Not nearly as visceral as it needed to be, but it was good. There's this weird comedy banter between She-Hulk, like you'd expect, but more from him. But at the end of the episode, they showed his costume. I think that's the biggest issue I had. Him walking home during the day with his shoes off because something's just happened, and they basically just made him the pun, the joke. And I was like, okay, I understand where you're going with this, and if this is how the character is going to be because it's Disney-fied somewhat. And if you look back at the original comics, Daredevil often did play jokes. He was a bit of a jokester in some of the comics, not all of them. But from what we've established, which is what people are saying is still established lore, which is connected to, sorry, it's like a long ramble rant, is connected
no,
to...
it makes sense.
This universe, then that Daredevil is still this Daredevil. They even have a stint of music from the score, the theme from the Netflix bit when he arrives. And so like, oh, okay, this is the same. We're putting 2 and 2 together. The same with Fisk. They kind of said that's the same. And so now I was thinking, I like what they did. I really enjoyed episode 6 of She-Hulk. Thought it was the best episode I've seen so far because she has a lot of growth, and it humanized her. It made me like her a lot. And then episode 7, they brought in Daredevil in that episode, and have the banter, and that was really fun. And it was a longer episode. And it's like I wish that had been this thing the whole time. Okay. But I also really felt for like fans that were like, I really didn't want you to. I wanted him to keep his grit, and it just didn't feel like he had that.
So do you think it's going to cause, or it's going to be hard for them to go back to how he was?
I don't think they will.
Netflix series.
I don't think they will. I think so even the costumes.
Like
I think this is how they've. That's why they've established these costumes brighter now. It's more in cue with the Marvel sort of bright costumes. But I was hoping they would go somewhere like the Captain America dark costumes that he had, because he's had variations, and you could always put him with that bunch, especially considering how many episodes we're getting. So if they're going to make him much lighter, then how is that going to... I think grit and dark go hand in hand with having a longer series. You can do story, and I see it working that way, but the comedy sort of lighter stuff that only works for a little while. So anyway, that was my off kilter. Let's talk about things that weren't the best for me this week. Ruben tends to have one of these every week now, and there's a moment in the latest Lord of the Rings episode as well. I was just like, what? Scientifically, that doesn't work. in a fantasy series, yes.
I'm so far behind in that. I still have only seen the first 2 episodes. Just
I can't wait.
Haven't had time to.
Well, next week's is the last episode, so
I know. My son texted yesterday, and he was like, "You need to get on this right now," because I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, Kirsten uttered the words. I said, "Don't let them hear you say that." She was like, "Is it me, or is Lord of the Rings much better than the Game of Thrones series?" I was like, "Don't let anybody hear you say that. You'll be destroyed. Don't." Shh.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have that opinion.
But they're filming season 2 right now, so here we go.
Nice.
Yep. Did we discuss something yet, or did I just rant for ages?
No. We went from Werewolf by Night to She-Hulk.
Right. Okay, your turn.
Yeah. All right. Mike Flanagan's series, The Midnight Club. We're both big fans of Mike Flanagan and his work. So this, I'm happy that this was also on the best thing that we watched this week, because it was, you have it's a Christopher Pike novel adaptation. And so what he did is he took Mike Flanagan adapted the Midnight Club book, but also the series, because throughout this 10-episode series on Netflix is other stories from within that world of Christopher Pike. So it's not just the first novel.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah,
sure
I read
that. Okay.
Yeah, I read some of the press notes that it was long.
Yeah,
so
I started it
parts.
and went, no, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. So it was, he pulls in different arcs from, or different pieces from some of the stories there. And I haven't seen anything negative like people like we got with Sandman, about how you didn't keep this or you changed that or whatever. But just like in Sandman, Christopher Pike, the author, the creator of this content, was an executive producer.
Nice.
So, he had his hand in it. He gave his blessing to Flanagan, but who only directed some of the episodes, didn't direct all of them.
Flanagan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And 10 episodes, it's a longer series, first off. It's season 1, which I was not expecting.
People don't know that, Chris. I was reading on Twitter, all over the comments, everybody thinks this is a limited series.
Well, because that's what he's done. That's how it's been. And Netflix, I don't think, has done a good job of marketing this.
They haven't, yeah.
Like I saw even a tweet yesterday by Mike Flanagan asking just audience, is the Midnight Club showing up on your home screen of Netflix, or are you having to search for it? Which this is not a new thing. I mean, we've had this discussion before.
We've had this discussion before, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so going back to the series, you have these terminally ill young adults who go to this estate. Basically, it's run by a doctor, but it's a hospice, and it gives them the way to live out their life, the final days, months, weeks, whatever that is. And they approach it differently than just a regular hospice, where a hospice is you just go to die, and their whole approach to even fighting a treatment or fighting a disease or anything like that. So I really like that. I thought that the different take on that is great. The residents, they get together each night at midnight to tell scary stories to each other, or at least stories to each other. And then with the whole idea and the pact that they make that when they die, they will do everything in their power that they can to contact the group to prove that there is something beyond. And so you have this group, they come and they tell their stories, and we get to see those stories play out. So it's a story within a story. Some are creepy, some are disturbing. There's a wide variety of genres that are displayed within the stories. And then playing out in the bigger thing over all of the episodes is a mystery. And Ruben and I had been chatting during this week, and I think it takes a little while to get into that mystery, and I don't think that they address it enough maybe as they should. It kind of falls by the wayside. Would you agree to that? And I think there is a level of predictability to some of it.
To some of it, but there was a bit that I didn't see coming, which I was like, oh, fair enough, well done. It's like I knew I should have seen it, but yeah, the one like there's two people. One, I was like, yeah, that's that, and then the other one, I was like, oh, really? Okay.
I suspected the second one when we see this flashback sequence that happens. You know what I mean? Like, and the conversation that they're having, I suspected that for a moment, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not obvious, but I think mildly predictable. The other one that you're talking about, though, that one, and that really bugged me with Ilonka's character, because she's super smart.
Yeah.
And yet she's surprised by this. And I like that at least the story addresses why she's surprised. Like, she was like, you shouldn't have been surprised. You should have known this. You have known this, but it just, it felt off to me.
Can I double down on the annoyance on that? Because
yes,
there's the clue that she's given that will help her in the mystery. And that is a set of numbers. For someone in her time in the 90s that spends all her time in libraries, she would know right immediately what those numbers are. And it takes her like 3 episodes more to be told basically what they are. And it's like, I don't buy that. Yeah. I don't buy that for a second. She would have known immediately. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Yes. I liked the cast of characters. I liked their dynamics. Some of them you don't like right off the bat, which I also liked that. Yeah. Because there's one that has a character arc where I didn't like at the beginning, and then I'm devastated at the end.
Right. Yeah, that is good writing. Yeah.
Seriously. And I didn't realize how many people in this cast, I knew some of them had been in Midnight Mass, but I didn't realize how many of them had been in Midnight Mass. There was a lot of them. Yeah. So I was like, whoa. But talk to me. Tell me what you thought of the series.
Yeah. Okay, so I think the perception of what the series is, the marketing didn't do it justice. Again, doubling down. I expected it to be a mystery, which it is, but I didn't expect there to be an anthology horror series inside that mystery. And that would have been fine. But also they took, like, the anthology horror series, sometimes those stories are longer than the mystery segments that you get in the episodes. And I'm all for the mystery. Like, that's the bit that gripped me, that I wanted to know more. I want to know about these kids. But at the same time, the more we watch the anthology horror series, the more, as you said in some of your the comments we were talking about this week, the more we find out about the kids. Because some of the stories about who they are and what they've gone through is in those. So it is almost integral to the mystery as well, if you want to know and care about the characters. And what I love about the characters being in this hospice, you can't help but feel for them and be on their sides. You are rooting for them because they're dying. Each of them has this horrible illness you wish could help, but you feel as helpless as the characters probably do if they were real. Like, of course they are. This is fact. This is like documentary recordings that we've grabbed from space, and that's what's happening. So, yeah, like you, there's a character that I was just like, she's the worst. It's just like, I know you're dying, but seriously, get over your bitchiness. And then 3 episodes in, and it's like, and for the audio, that's me having like quivering sad lip face. I was just like, I really, really like this character now. And then a few episodes later, I was just like, and Kirsten was my wife. She's like, I don't want to watch it anymore. It's too sad.
Yeah.
There's also a story here that hit home for us because we were raised in a Christian family. There's a story here about a young man who is gay, who's grown up in a Christian family, and you see the devastation of what that means in the 90s, particularly because in the 90s it wasn't, we've come some ways since the 90s in thinking. We're not nearly where we should be, but we have.
No.
We've taken a few steps forward, but I really felt this. This was like this hit in I was like, dude, this is heavy. So each of their characters are defined really well. So when shit does happen to them, you feel that. You're like, Which brings me to the ending, because had this been a completion series, we'd probably be very sad, but we wouldn't have been left hanging. I just don't know where they're going to go with this. Like, I don't know how much mystery there is left. There are some answers that we need, but I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't want another whole series that they're just going to string out for the sake of it. Like, my mind I don't see the next season. Like, I want more because I loved it, and I want to see them okay and well and healthy and live their lives. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have the same feelings about that?
I agree. I'm not sure I want 10 more episodes in a second season as a repeat of this. Like, I think I would like it to be more mystery and then complemented with stories.
Yeah.
From the Midnight Club, that instead of the other way around. I mean, because you've taken us now to the area of, we're getting to the crux of the mystery, maybe. At least we're uncovering some clues, like, ooh, what does this mean? Where is this going? And there's got to be some kind of a motivation there, but we haven't been shown what that motivation is yet.
Well, because of the end, I have my theories as to what it could be. So should we do spoilers now for the next couple of minutes? Warn people?
Yes. Okay, so spoiler warning right now. There you go. Yeah.
Just reminded of Coco and the dancing. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's great. That's and disturbing all at the same time. Thank you.
Ruben dancing bubbly bonehead. Okay, spoilers for the next 2 minutes.
Cool.
The matron, which they revealed at the end, she was not the good person. She's been the original the whole time. She removes her wig. She removes her. I thought she's way older than.
Oh no! See, I think that's the daughter. That's the daughter that escapes.
Oh, see, I didn't think that.
Oh, that okay. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Then I hadn't considered that she would be, because she would be much older.
Yeah.
If she was the mom, the original of the leader of that cult.
So my theory, which could, if she is the daughter, then that throws it all out the water. But my theory is the shadow thing is her. She is a soul eater, and in order for her to keep the disease at bay, she needs to keep sacrificing kids or eating their life force because they're coming to dying. You know that whole story that one of the kids had about what the shadow creatures are? Yeah. I felt somehow that was connected to her, and she was staying alive by having the shadow creatures feed her, or shadow creature, which is why the two ghosts are telling the kids to stop and get out and don't do these even with the pillows and the sheets, like don't or what do they say? Don't. But if she's the daughter, what are your theories then if she's the daughter?
Well, I didn't know where that was going. I just maybe perfecting what her mom was the leader of the cult, that led to, and so maybe her coming back now thinking, as an adult, believing that, well, there is something that, to this, but she went about it wrong. And so now trying to perfect it for her own demented reasons. I don't know, but I'm completely unsure.
Oh no, I was just thinking, damn it, you might be right. You might be the daughter.
Well, let us know.
Yeah.
If you've seen this, I mean, where are we? Just make sure you put spoiler warning in the comments if you do comment about it, just so that it doesn't ruin it for everybody. But that's interesting there, because I love the idea of how dark that goes with it becoming like a soul eater type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. Let's move on to the next.
Cool. What's on your list?
I'm literally pulling it up to remind myself. Right. Okay, cool. There's one I want to talk about that, again, didn't make my list, but I want to talk about it anyway. Okay. This has become the best thing that Ruben didn't watch this week. Okay, so I didn't get to watch all of it, but that's on purpose. Not that I didn't have time, although it was long. It's a new series that dropped on Netflix this week. It's Korean. I'll read the description. Hong Ji-hoyo's boyfriend disappears with an unidentified light. Since then, Hong Ji-hoyo traces her boyfriend's whereabouts. With the help of a UFO club members, she approaches a mysterious secret. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I don't, but I am intrigued.
Okay, so this is a new series that dropped on Friday called Glitch. It's not based on the original Glitch series that there was.
Oh, that Australian
people coming
one?
Back. Yeah. This is literally their story on UFO and what UFO's done. And literally within the first 20 seconds, I wanted to switch it off because of how the music, it made it feel very cheap. It made it feel very TV. And I was like, but I stuck it out because this is South Korean. And K-drama are our cup of tea. So I watched 5 of the 10. And it's long, so I've seen half, so I can't give my full review, and I won't be going back to it because it is very drawn out. It's very long. in that there's a lot of stuff that's said, there's a lot of conversations that happen that don't feel necessary. It feels like a TV soap drama in amongst the aliens. There's also characters that I think you're meant to like that took me a long while to care about them at all.
Okay.
So you have a woman who, the first episode basically showcases her. She's obsessed with work, but she's also obsessed with UFOs. She for some reason they don't tell you yet, but she's also got a fiance who she's been stringing along for 4 years that she hasn't married, and her demeanor is like someone that is autistic, but she isn't. So she's very quiet, very thoughtful, and doesn't say a lot. Like, she doesn't say a lot, but everybody else talks and suggests things to her to fix her. But the thing is that she has been... The way I describe it actually sounds interesting, but when you watch it, you'll understand. When she was a child, she was obsessed with UFOs because she had an encounter, and she's been obsessed with it ever since. In fact, there's a little grey alien that seems to follow her around. Nobody else can see it, and you have to decide whether is she mentally broken, or is there a little grey alien? Because it's so cliche, little grey alien, and it looks like a little grey alien, except for when she's having a stressful time in life, and then it's the size of a skyscraper. And so you're thinking, no, this is you, right? This is not right in your head.
Yeah.
Until the story starts, it really takes a tack for the left, because now I'm going to say the word cult, right? And so there's a whole storyline here with cult members, that she becomes this investigator with her best friend, that all kind of links up to people who have had experiences with UFO. You know, people like, I was probed once when, I was walking down on the back roads, and, this thing came and grabbed me. I was just like, I'm not sure I liked it, but I kind of like it. And so I wasn't sure how to feel about it. And all the UFO X-Files stories that you've heard, it is kind of in that. But then there's a whole tax of, which I quite liked more of, the cult storyline. And without doing spoilers, and how it links into there. That bit was interesting, but again, all of the storylines and everything that's going on in here is just slow. It's not like, it's not a slow burn. It just feels like they padded it. It could have been, and I said at the beginning, this is why Netflix normally only give you 6 episodes. They force you to have everything contained within 6 episodes, and then if it's good enough for a second season and it has an audience, then you go for it. So I was so hopeful, because this is the first time I would have seen a K-drama with the alien storyline, and I just didn't feel it. It just was like,
not going there, huh?
Which is sad, which is okay. Everybody likes different things, and I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy this and, find enjoyment out of it. For me, with everything that we've got going on, like, I may go back in a couple of years and let me finish that. But for now, I'm just like, this is
just taking too long to tell the story, right?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Okay.
So that's Glitch. Yeah.
Okay.
Should I talk about something I enjoyed? The best thing we watched.
Let's do that.
Okay, so I mentioned to you last week, there is an animated YouTuber named James who has a channel of 12.8 million subscribers. So he's done all right. But that all came from him just drawing little white man, and he takes experiences in his life that we've all experienced, like in his job. There's 4 videos that he's done called Subway, which are basically his experience of working at Subway, and he just tells the story through animation, and it's hilarious, because often life stories are funnier than like any Hollywood movie, right? And so after gaining, I guess, all these subscribers, he then came together with a friend of his with a pitch to people that you pitch to get a series made. And the first time he did it, after they practiced it for days and days and getting it right and just sharpening it, and to their friends, to other people they trusted, he went and pitched it to someone, and they said to him outright, nobody will ever take on a YouTuber. You're barking up the wrong tree. Keep to what you're doing, but nobody will sign on a YouTuber, because nobody likes YouTubers. Firstly, let me just say, what the actual? Your thinking is so backwards. Also, at the time when he pitched this, let's say that he had 10 million, so 2 years back, 10 million subscribers. Even if a small percentage of those people came and watched whatever whatever platform it ended up being on, let's say 1 million. That's 1 million dedicated watches before your own users start watching.
Absolutely.
What is wrong with you? You should be fired. That's terrible.
Guaranteed audience built in right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And marketing.
Yeah.
And wow, golly. Okay.
And I have to say that his audience, James's audiences, are awesome. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a negative comment on his videos.
Nice. That's awesome.
So that's 12.8 million good people who now are watching a Netflix series called Oddballs. So basically, you've taken his humor, his writing with a budget of Netflix with a few other great voices, and given it a sort of arc. There's this hilarious arc that it's overarching. Each episode is an individual animated story of an event of something that goes wrong. So it's a thing like within his YouTube, and then it embellishes to the most ridiculous thing that you can ever imagine. My favorite being, there's two. There's one that is a Mick take on Fight Club, which is hilarious. And then there's one about a toaster, and there's this little toasty, he's toasted, and they basically make an AI toaster because he never quite gets his toaster right. His toast right. It always comes out burnt. And that is the start of the main arc, which comes back at the end, and an AI toaster. Yeah. You can just imagine. What I have seen within some of the comments that some people are just not getting it and found it lame and just silly. And I do wonder if that's because they haven't had the experience of what James's animation is or what type of segments they are. Because if you're coming from you're already on board, I think, and you're just so happy and proud of a YouTuber getting Netflix money and making a series, and then you're in for this very awesome animation that you've been on board for the whole time anyway. But I love the fact that kids can watch it and enjoy it. Like young kids can watch it and enjoy it because of the animation. But then I can sit next to those young kids as an adult and laugh my head off because of the stuff that you're getting that they just won't get. Like even some of the language of the words, the big vocabulary words that I was like, whoa, what is that word? It's like, I think I know what that is. Let me get my dictionary out and oh, thank you, phone. It's that sort of thing that sometimes they tackle. No kid shouldn't have watched Fight Club yet. No. The fact that they're referencing that's for adults, and I think it works well. It's like if Pixar went, Pixar does that balance so well between kids and adult storylines, and we both get it. But it's if they went more adult and had a series, and then really made you laugh. I think it's great. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun.
Nice.
I'm surprised to see the mix, but I shouldn't be surprised because people hate anything.
Sure.
So yeah.
How many episodes?
12, 13, 12.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. And are they short episodes?
Yeah, they're short. They're like 16 to
under
18
20
minutes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Nice. Right on. Very cool. I saw it on there, and it looked like I didn't watch any trailers or anything, but just from the animation, it gave me slight Centaur World vibes.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah.
And that was kind of the mindset if I was going to watch it that I would be going in with just kind of like, this might be oddball. Well, that's the name of it. But like off the wall, just bizarre, kind of weird, maybe random.
Yeah, it starts off normal. Like, you ever watch Dexter's Laboratory?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, it's just this kid, like an innocent invention that ends up destroying the world. Like at the end of the episode, it's that sort of thing.
You'd love it. Well, those are the best type of cartoons.
Absolutely.
They just things go off the rails. Oh man. All right. Well, you had talked about a South Korean series, and I watched a South Korean movie yesterday from 2009. Ooh. And it is a horror movie, and it is a vampire movie. And it is one that, first off, I'd never seen, And then it's a different take on vampires. It's directed by Park Chan-wook, and it is called Thirst.
I know that name. What else has Park Chan-wook done?
He did Old Boy.
Ah, okay.
The original Old Boy.
Love Old Boy.
So, well, and it stars Song Kang-ho.
Okay.
Who he's in Parasite, The Host. So he's.
I know exactly what that is now. Yeah.
Just two of the the biggies there. So he, excuse me, he plays a priest, and he undergoes just a medical experiment that goes wonky, goes really bad for him, and then through the course of that, he now has this insatiable thirst for blood. And he doesn't have fangs, nothing like that. This isn't a fang vampire type of thing. He can walk around in the daytime. Does he
get any powers for being a vampire?
He is incredibly strong, and he can jump really well, jump high, things like that. But that's about it. I mean, it's just, and his senses are, especially hearing and stuff, are
when did this come out?
Accentuated 2009.
Okay.
So I watched it on Peacock, I think. That's where I watched it. It's on demand, something like that too. You can rent it through Amazon or whatever. But because it's a different type of take, he's afflicted with something now. And what that does though is it begins to change his inhibitions, remove his inhibitions, change his desires. And he is now struggling because he's a priest who has taken these vows.
Yeah, that's
and yet
not going to jive with your vows.
Yeah, right. And so he has this huge conflict of, how do I do it? How do I still feed? How do I, otherwise I'm going to die. But it's not even like you waste away type of thing. It is disgusting and visceral and gross at what happens when he is absolutely too hungry. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it is. The special effects are wonderful because they're practical. And some might be a little CGI, but it's hard to tell if it is. I mean, it's just really done well. So you have that conflict, which really works because he's struggling. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to hurt people. He doesn't want to kill people. But he needs to feed. But then also his inhibitions are reducing. His desires are growing, and not just for blood. I mean, it's just he's just changing a little bit within his mindset. Then he spends time with this family, and this family is dysfunctional, big time. But there's it's a mom and a dad, a son who is just weird. I mean, he's not a good guy, and he's married to this woman, and she also struggles with her desires, and they then, the priest and the young woman, they have conflicts and interactions, and you get to watch just the dynamic between them and how you can see it coming. You can see how things ratchet up. There's a moment that felt a little bit like Chronicle, like watching Chronicle.
Nice.
In a mindset of people, what happens when you can do certain things, or you have certain things happening to your brain or your body or whatever. It is so different from how your traditional vampire movies go. And, is the priest going to lose his humanity? Is he going to hold on to parts of that despite having all of these things going on inside of him, and so it's a longer movie. It's 2 hours and 13 or 14 minutes.
Nice.
So it's
unusual for horror.
Yes. But it earns it. There's visions and imagery that will mess with you a little bit, and you can't tell is everything that I'm seeing reliable? You know, and there's also a section with the family that I had talked about, the mom in that. And there is a story arc with her that is kind of horrifying. And it really works. But then it's also very sad in this too. So the movie's not an overly happy one by any means. It definitely worth checking out though, if you can, wherever you've seen it. Or
So in the UK, I've just been hunting. It's on Shudder in the UK. So,
nice.
The .com one, not the on Amazon one.
Okay.
So the actual app. So you're skimming through the comments because Shudder gives you the ability to comment on what you thought about it. And everybody's 99% of people have given this like full marks. So
nice.
Or so many scales, 5 scales out of 5, which is cool. Nice rating.
That's
system.
Awesome. Yeah. So it was a good surprise. I didn't know what to expect. But yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah,
I like vampire that are different because it's been done to death, hasn't it? So in this day and age where we've had at least 200 vampire movies, at least, you need to do something different. Yes. Let us know in the comments, actually, what is the strangest, most different vampire film you've ever seen? I know Chris this week he's watched a few strange ones.
Yeah, I'm working on a vampire list, and I do have more strange ones that I have watched. But yeah,
I think Night Watch and Day Watch are some of my favorites. 30 Days by Night, I think, is more traditional, based on the graphic novel, but scary as hell. Nosferatu, I don't know how many people have actually seen the original black and white one.
I think it's decreasing.
It is, for sure. Lots of people, like, they've heard the word maybe Nosferatu, but not actually seen the original. Like, do yourself a favor, watch the original. It's a classic for a reason.
Absolutely. And just as a teaser for what's coming up in our audio, I have some news on Nosferatu.
Nice.
So,
okay.
There you go.
So I mentioned right at the beginning that I needed to talk about the 3 seashells.
Yeah, what is this? Is this a movie? Is this because what I think of is Demolition Man?
No, exactly. It's Demolition Man.
Okay. Okay.
No. It's not like what you think it is. Okay, so so I've recently been playing Cyberpunk 2077 again because the first time I played it, I had to get a refund because the game was unplayable. It's a game I'd waited 8 years for, and now I've waited 9 and a bit, almost 9.5, because they've had a year and somewhat to fix all the bugs that made the game unplayable. They've had a free update on the PS5s, and so I've been playing it. I love Cyberpunk. I mean, I love CD Projekt Red, who did the Witcher: The Wild Hunt, which is my favorite game of all time, with Geralt. And, we have Henry Cavill, who's playing The Witcher, but Doug Cockle voicing the game. I think it's great. It's a great universe to play in. And so I was very disappointed when I couldn't actually get to play in the Cyberpunk, whatever they created. So now I've spent maybe 10 to 15 hours playing this game that's finally playable, at least on my system, whatever everybody else says about it. And I'm enjoying it. Keanu Reeves is in it. You can't not enjoy anything that Keanu Reeves is. I think even his bad stuff is good. Like Johnny Mnemonic, Mnemonic. When's the last time you've seen that? That film has aged.
Oh, I bet it has.
Yeah. Anyway, you get your own room. Okay, as your character in the towers, the cyberpunk towers that you live in. It's your base. You can come home and rest and swap your weapons, swap your clothes, that kind of stuff. Now, all the other rooms, some of which you can go into, the bathrooms have toilet paper. But in your bathroom, there is no toilet paper. There is 3 seashells. And because it was just brilliant, because
I love that.
The fact that Demolition Man and Schwarzenegger, so that's so funny. Stallone comes out going, "Can somebody tell me how to use the 3 seashells? Hey, Adrian. And people like, what? How do you actually use a 3 seashells? So here's the thing. The director of the movie has come out, also the writer came out and said, actually, he called his friend. He needed something else to put in the movie to make it more weird because it's futuristic. And so his friend was on the toilet at the time, and he told him that my wife has seashells in the bathroom as decorations. There were 3 of them.
Sure.
And so instead of toilet paper, that ended up in the movie as 3 seashells. But this is how he says, but the idea is that you take 2 seashells, you scoop away the poop with the 2 seashells to make like a clam clippity clop thing, and then use the 3rd one to wipe. And that is actually from the writers. So there, your conundrum is solved.
I'm not sure we needed that information.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You know you did.
Oh my gosh. Ah. Oh gosh, that should have come with a warning.
You are welcome. Poop scraping. Poop with a scooping.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. Okay. Ugh.
Should we talk about the movie Our Horror Choice?
Yes, let's do that.
Would you like to take the lead?
Oh, okay. So it is it's a movie on Shudder. Mm-hmm. At least that's where we watched. I think it is a Shudder original also.
I think it is.
Yeah, it came out. I should have pulled this up the year. I'm pretty sure it's this year.
It's new. Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, 2022.
It's like a couple of weeks old.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's brand new. And it's called Sissy, and it is a comedy drama horror. I'm not sure how much on the comedy there. I mean, it's dark comedy.
I equate this to dark comedy like Voices with Ryan Reynolds. It has the same sort of feeling. Yeah. It's off kilter humor. Yeah, totally.
So basically, you have this girl who's you have 2 people, Cecilia, Sissy, and Emma, who were best friends as kids. There was an incident where Cecilia was bullied at school as a child. Traumatic for her, traumatic for a lot of people. Flash forward to present. Cecilia is now an online influencer, has lots of followers.
Yep.
She runs into Emma, is invited to an engagement party, and then her hen party.
Hen party.
Which in the U.S. we call them bachelorette parties. Whatever, doesn't really matter. Same thing. This weekend they go away. Well, and then there is not everybody knew who was going to be at this hen party, and so the emotions come up, bad things happen, conflicts arise. I think you see things coming, like you see the progression of events. Yeah. It's almost unavoidable there. Yeah. And okay, I set that up. You have this lots and lots of conflict. Give me your thoughts before I go into mine.
I really like this. I don't know that you did, but I really enjoyed it. This reminded me the way my brain understood it of Dale and Tucker versus Evil, like a woman that has been bullied, but somehow these people keep walking into death that is around her. Right? That's how I saw it, because people are going to die in this movie. It's not a spoiler, and you obviously know the setup with how this woman, someone snaps and then they die. But the way they die is way too easy to die. It just feels like stop walking into the spear sort of thing. And I have to say, I was kind of rooting for her. Yeah. I know
for Cecilia? For
Sissy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of rooting for her because I didn't like any of the other people, even the friend, until the moment at the end, and you're like, okay, maybe. But by that point, I was like, it's so far, you might as well just clean house. And I also like, the ending. There's like a twist thing that I was like, oh, all right. What did you think of this?
I loved the violence. There's a Toxic Avenger moment, which I absolutely loved.
So good.
There's just the dude with the dude that made me laugh. It shouldn't have, but it made me laugh.
I did laugh and giggle a lot in this movie.
The cinematography of that one in particular, because you've got this really wide shot, and it's just it. Okay, so the violence, the bad things that happen, the decisions that are made, I liked a lot of that. My biggest issue was with the movie was I hated Sissy. I hated Cecilia.
Oh, really?
She is like the most self-centered, narcissistic, look at me type of person. And that says something, to be surrounded at this party by vapid people. I mean, who are just like, I didn't like them either. I liked Emma, the one getting married. I liked her a little bit.
Yeah, she's the only one that kind of tolerated. Yeah, all the rest. Which is why I was rooting for Sissy, because I didn't like any of them. I wanted them all to just be taken out.
Well, see, and I totally agree with you there. Like I was rooting for that. The ending though was not the ending I wanted. It was like,
I thought it was great. I was just
dark.
like, oh wow, okay. And then we go back to influencing sort of thing, and I liked that.
It was dark. It was, and because I didn't totally expect that, that is good.
Yes.
That it was able to offset some of those expectations there of like, because through it, you see like, oh well, this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and then there are some shocking moments though, especially towards the end where you're like, oh my gosh, what? Oh, I know why you're doing that, but oh my gosh, that just.
I think she was very broken. I think it shows the psychosis in her mind already, so that you realize, the whole time she was not okay.
Totally.
Like, not even a little bit.
Yeah, no, the facade that she has put up and that she has created for herself, that, and yeah, it's you see it. It's just this winding. Rope, it's just getting tighter and tighter as it's wound, and that at some point something's going to happen, because nobody can continue to do that without any type of reaction, long term. So
no, it snapped.
Yeah, there's a lot to like in this. But if you're rooting for characters, like if you want them, like if you like the characters, you can root for characters most definitely. But I think liking them is a very difficult proposition in this.
Don't know. I might be a little bit narcissistic. I hate bullying, so I think whenever I see anybody get bullied, I'm like, yeah, I don't care what you've done, but she reacted that way because she got bullied. But,
in that part, like especially as the kids, totally, that made sense. I'm like, well, hey, you know what? You are a terrible person, and you get what you deserve for that. It's just, I don't know.
But then later on, I mean, you can't justify it. There is no one good in this movie, basically.
It's.
I'm not saying that people on social media that are nasty need to be taken out by a serial killer, but the type of person that you see in this film that you just like, I really don't like people like that. I just
this does a good job of there's very uncomfortable situations. I think they have the potential to extend them to make you more uncomfortable and more cringe and just like, oh, this is I can't watch because I just can't take it anymore. But they don't. I don't think they take advantage of that. Like there's a dinner scene, that is very uncomfortable, and they execute it really well. But then I think to some other movies where they have like an uncomfortable dinner scene like that, and it just goes on, and you're like, I need you to stop. I need to look away
and not hear.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely worth checking out. I think it's short attention span, and it's not that long. It didn't feel long. I didn't feel like I was getting bored with it, or like, when is this going to end? Anything like that. I mean, it moved along, especially once it began, and you get to just see the unraveling of everybody, which is
nice. Can I talk about one more thing before we wrap up this video segment?
Of course.
So I've been catching up on one of my favorite series just because I had so much to watch that I've basically the last 10 days I've been watching Pennyworth. So I'd seen season 1 and bits of season 2, and I caught up on season 2, and now I've seen season 3, which came out, the first, I think, episode or 2 episodes came out on Friday. And so Pennyworth is now a HBO Max original because that's just part of the acquisition. And it's now Pennyworth, the origins of Batman's butler. Like, nobody knew that. Okay, if you didn't, Pennyworth is Batman's butler. Anyway.
That is a terrible title.
Yeah, I know. Thankfully, it's still massive Pennyworth. And
Pennyworth.
It's small, more the origins.
Yes.
But thankfully, that's how that looks. However, it's going to take some people adjusting to where it left them off from the end of season 2. It was like a big war. They were going into the Battle of London. It's like our timeline, but things are slightly different. If that makes sense. Yeah. And so we jump 5 years into the future. So there's a big time gap between 2 and 3. And then because of the consequences of what happened, people are like Pennyworth, instead of having a club, which he owned in number 2, he owns a bar in number 3. And people have moved on and recovered from winning the war. Now, we knew they were starting to win the battle, but we didn't know they were going to win the war. But that just happened. And so now this time round, it's all about enhanced people, but enhanced in like mechanical ways, so like people would fuse things onto their bodies. Like there's a crazy scientist type of enhancements, and so Pennyworth has an investigated team with his best friend that carries on from season 2. We'd lost one in season 2, unfortunately, and in season 3 he has more to do with Batman's parents this time round. So Martha and Thomas, thank you. It's their origins as well, and it goes in a lot darker places that I wasn't expecting. A big part of this arc is about psycho controlling. So there's a crazy scientist that has created like the control drug, and so you can imagine the best people, if they are able to drop a pill in your drink, and if they can make you they can control you with a word or a music ability. And so that sets up everybody that you think that is always good, that'll never turn. If someone gets that, or someone that is really well trained, then gets that dropped in, and then, kind of like
Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Being controlled like that. So we have that as part of the origin story, and it's a lot of fun. They go a lot darker than I was expecting them to. It does feel like they've got a bit of a bigger budget this time around as well.
That's good.
They spend a lot of time with characters that they've been building up from season 1 and 2. There's one of those storylines where a character is bad and then works their way up to still being bad, but you like them because they're bad and taking out bad guys. To the point where we lose a character this season, which I was devastated by, even though technically they were bad. It's that sort of writing. I'm trying not to do spoilers. I'm just doing an overarching kind of what happens this season. I loved it. I feel like this show has gone from strength to strength, and unfortunately it's one of the lesser talked about series. Like there's a niche group of people that are watching it that know how good it is, but for some reason it's not gathering the audience it needs to, or it's not being showcased around the world more. And I think it definitely needs that, because it's a really quality show, like a good writing, great characters, and every episode has a thing that they investigate, but the main story is always there. It's always pushing forward, what's going to happen at the end. Every season does this thing where it takes 3 or 4 episodes to get into the story and the arc. And so it feels slow, but once you get into that 4th episode or 5th episode, you understand why. They needed that time to build up what's going to happen. And then it just feels like a roller coaster, which is exactly the same for this one.
Nice. Right on. Well, I have not seen, other than when they announced the new title, I haven't really seen much marketing online about this, which is...
It's sad, yeah. Because honestly, it's very good.
Well, and you would think too, with all of the stuff that HBO Max, Warner, Discovery, all of that whole hubbub that was going on there, that they would have taken their existing properties or the things that they are pushing and push them, you know. But it seems like, I think really all they're pushing is House of Dragons.
Yeah, I don't get it because I would much rather watch this than House of Dragons at the moment. That's just my personal. I think for House of Dragons, I need to watch a whole bunch together. It feels like a show. You need to watch 2 or 3 episodes together. Yeah. So I haven't even had time to put that on my channel yet. That's exclusive review for you guys. Feel privileged.
Nice. Right on. That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And
that's
that's everything I've got. Yeah.
All right. Well, then we have reached the end, at least for the video portion. You can always check out the podcast that has entertainment news, things that are coming up in the next week or so, and just randomness also. Wherever you happen to listen to podcasts, please rate and review us. We've also linked it in the description below. That way it's easy to find. You can just click and there you go. Take us with you wherever you are. Like, share, subscribe. We truly appreciate it. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris with Movies and Munchies. You can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. And then our Patreon opportunity at patreon.com/thebeardedones with a lot of content there as well. And we hope you'll continue to join us in the weeks because we are still going to be talking about unique, to us at least, horror movies each week. We'll choose, well, through October. I mean, we're not going to just do that ad nauseum because that would get weird. But anyway, yeah. So there you go. With that, I think we'll see you next week. Take care.